Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the, July version of Triage Your Inbox. And as I said earlier, we've got a mix of those who've coming back for a bit of a refresher and those who are coming through this for the first time. So my name is Stuart Snooks. That is the correct spelling of Stuart. I think I might have explained that to most of you before. Kylie, you might not have come across that before. It's my parents' fault. I've had to live with it all my life, but it's a point of distinction, and so is the hat. The reason I wear the hat is it's a bit of a point of distinction. It doesn't work on Zoom because it cuts the sides off, so I wear a beret of sorts. This one I'm wearing because it's quite warm and it's chilly time of year. And then my work has been in this space for 20 years. And in fact, we're just about to diversify. Kathy and I are talking to some business advisors. We think AI, everyone's running towards AI, and so they're not seeking training and coaching in this area as much as they were in the past. It'll come back, it'll settle, but for the moment, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'll be happy to have a break, do something a bit different. But I'll still be working with senior executives, the EAs, to get control of email and workload. And in future, it'll be more general workload productivity, workplace productivity, rather than narrow with email. So this is our Triage program. We had the kickoff last week. There's a recording. Most of you would have seen that, yes?
Yep.
Gone through that. And then there's the resources pages. There's a few articles to try and help you get up to speed mentally. Kylie, I know you've just come on board over the weekend. Had a chance to go to that page yet?
Yep. Had a
well done. Well done.
weekend and yes.
So we'll have a masterclass today, and it'll be a blend of live instruction. I may send some of you to a recorded tutorial while I work with others, and online coaching. Hopefully you'll be comfortable to share screen, and it's amazing how answering a question for one of you will answer it for lots of others as well. And we're going to practice using that triage, view and process in your own mailbox, and get those that have who's fallen off the wagon. Dale, I think you're here, Penny and Sabrina fallen off the wagon a bit, and that's life. We'll get you back on the wagon very quickly. And then we'll practice that for the next week or so. Grab me for one-on-one if you need that, and then we'll come back in a week's time and say, okay, how are we going? Share our wins. The Dr. Email Forum that I run every month is another agency for you to tap into if you've got questions. And you can grab me for one-on-one over the next 30 days or so. And you can also send a screenshot. You might have a problem and it's 7 o'clock at night. You're not going to catch me. Send a screenshot, send it to me. While you're getting on with things, I'll answer the question and create a little tutorial. I just created 2 this week, didn't I, Kathy? There were some questions that came out of Dr. Email last week, and I just created the little 1 to 2 minute tutorials. So I've got that captured if anyone else asks that question. So the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. So feel free to ask questions. So hopefully you've got 2 screens going. You can be watching what we're doing here on one screen and implementing on the other straight away, hopefully on 2 big screens. It's a bit harder on smaller screens. And let me just check in who's using which version of Outlook. Everyone's on Outlook, is that right? Is there anybody not? Just type into the chat, are you using the classic? And you'll be able to tell because you have the file tab, which the new or online version does not have. I know Anthea is very keen to hear, to move from classic to the new. I'm pretty sure Sabrina, you're going to be moving soon as well, mostly classic, yeah. So we'll cover both. I ran a session devoted solely to the new Outlook earlier in the year, but everybody was still using the classic. so as long as you've got the classic to fall back on, you probably won't rely on the new. It's only when it's taken away from you and it forces you to use the new that it's like immersive learning. Like I'm going overseas to France shortly, and the only way I'm going to learn French is when I can't speak English. You learn French very quickly when it's the only language you've got. All good, thanks for clarifying that. So a bigger picture, revolutionize your inbox is the approach I've developed over 20 years. 3 key areas. We must get control of when we're doing email and when we're not doing email. Doing email all the time has some serious negative impacts. What is our process, our system, our methodology? What are we doing with email? And where are we storing it? Where are we storing with it when we're working on it? Where do we store it when we finish with it? But we want to be able to get it back quickly. Who spends too much time looking for email? Yeah, so that's a big question, the where question. A bit like a combination, so 3 dials to tweak when, what, and where. Today, we're concentrating on the what, particularly this section in the middle, where we're talking about handling email only once and using the 4D methodology as the process and the triage view as the tool to capture that process. So triage is where we start. That's where you live, in the inbox. Let's get that sorted, get that fire hose of stuff coming at you under control. And then we can move on to, okay, amongst all of that emails, a whole lot of tasks disguised as emails. How do we identify them, get them out of inbox, get them in the calendar, integrated with all of the rest of our workload, timeframes, commitments, and use the calendar as the central environment rather than the inbox. The third one's around the back end, file and folder management. The fourth one's around when, managing your attention, your focus. And I think that's the most important module. And in fact, in that module, we come back and look at bigger picture structure of your day and your week, and where does email fit into that structure? And then the last one is, how do we speed all of this up? There are 9, 10 tools in Outlook that will speed some of these things that you do. And you probably dabble with some of them, and we dive in there and have a look at the ones that are most useful. So we're starting with Triage in your inbox. And if you want to continue the journey with Revolutionize at some stage, you can do that either at a live program like this and or recorded versions, the on-demand. So let's get stuck into Triage your inbox, handling each email only once. And the first thing to say is change is hard at first. Who agrees? Changing anything is hard at first, but especially email. How many years have you been using email? The correct answer is too many. But it's been a long time. You built up a habit, and a long-term habit like that can be hard to change. It's messy in the middle while you're making changes and getting it right. And that's why Penny and Sabrina and Dale are back. It's got a bit messy again, and we need to tidy it up. But it's gorgeous at the end when you get it as a routine, sustainable habit. And that's the key. Once it's a habit, habits take very little energy. The hard part is getting it to be a habit, and it has its own momentum then. And I was just thinking this morning, email is actually a keystone habit. Anyone know what keystone habits are? It's when you get that habit under control, it has a positive effect at a whole lot of other habits without consciously addressing those other habits. When you get email right, suddenly a whole lot of other threads fall into line without actually addressing them directly. Does that make sense? Good, good. So let's talk about the what strategy, handling each email only once. I've written an article on it, the importance of the first touch. So important that the first time we look at an email, we get some value out of it and only handle it once. And this is my take. Your time, my time, too valuable to look at email more than once. We need to look at it once, make a decision, capture the results of that decision, and move on. It doesn't mean you don't visit the email a second time. Sometimes you do. In fact, about 35%. But we must get value out of every touch. All good? Because over-checking email wastes time. Who agrees with that? Over-checking email wastes time. About 21 minutes a day, the latest research I've seen. On average, we check email 15 times a day. Who would agree with that? Who wishes it was only 15 times a day? I've seen research that says it's 73 times a day for a lot of us. We're checking text, mobiles, email. We're checking our stuff all the time, and it wastes time. Checking less often means less stress as well. Because every time, as I'm about to say, every time we look at an email, some part of our subconscious mind is now trying to keep track of what we've become aware of but don't have under control. And it creates stress. And we can, by having a good process, we can handle the same volume of email in 20% less time, and probably even more. All good? Reasons to handle the email only once. A second reason is what's called the Zygarnik effect. Bluma Zygarnik was a Soviet psychologist in the 1920s. She noticed something watching Italian waiters in restaurants. I wish I had time to just watch Italian waiters in restaurants, but she noticed that they could remember orders that they had not yet delivered to a table. But once they delivered a meal to a table, they very quickly forgot what it was. It was much harder to remember. And she studied this and found that you and I remember things that are incomplete, unfinished, or we were doing but got interrupted from. It stays in our mind. And this is what happens when we look at an email, and then we move on to the next one. It opens a file in our subconscious mind. And now our subconscious mind is trying to keep track of an open loop that we're aware of but don't have under control. And it's not just email, of course. Who's got other open loops in your life? Things that you don't have under control. And it nags you at a subconscious level. And sometimes you're not even aware of it because it's like bubbles in a soup. You know, it's bubbling away and suddenly they pop up from that subconscious into the conscious mind. And the more emails that we have in the inbox that we haven't got finalized, the more RAM it's using. Heard of RAM? For computers, random access memory. Our mental thinking is sluggish because the subconscious mind is trying to keep track of so much. So who thinks these are powerful reasons to handle email once? and it's going to clear up a lot of headspace. Do you remember, Sabrina, when we first did it? It just felt so good. It cleared up a lot of headspace. Now you're back into being caught up a bit in it. All good? I'll skip past this pretty quickly. I wrote this 7 reasons to keep the inbox empty, and now I would say 7 reasons to keep the inbox under control. I think keeping the inbox empty is not feasible because so much workload's coming there that we have to keep in the inbox while we're working on it. We can't just simply deal with an email once and it's gone completely forever. We can for about 65%, but for 35%, it's got to be kept under control. Here are some of the reasons. You probably relate to some of those. Just type in a number. Which one stands out for you? Reasons to keep the inbox under control. Thanks, Kylie. Yeah, overloaded inbox certainly causes stress. Who worries about number 3, losing something? I know it was here, can't find it. Have I done it? Is it forgotten? When's that due? All of that sort of stuff. And since writing that article, I've now come up with an 8th reason, and it came from reading Gretchen Rubin's book, The Happiness Project. External chaos in general has a disproportionate impact on our inner calm, our peace of mind and our peace of heart. Who finds that? Imagine what it's like if you lived in Ukraine or the Middle East. The external chaos of what's going on there, they must be anxious and stressed all the time. But the opposite's also true. Once you have internal calm, you have things under control, there's a lot of inner calm. It's like a seesaw. If you've got low control at one end, you've got high stress at the other. If you've got high control at one end, you've got high control at one end, you've got low stress at the other. Make sense? So what we want to do is go from low control to high control and go from chaos to order. In fact, I was reading something that the natural order of things is towards chaos. And it takes effort and energy to create order. I know this because I'm with my grandkids at the moment. My grandson's about to turn 2, and he's in that stage of life. If he finds all the toys, it creates chaos. And then I got to spend a lot of time. His parents got to spend a lot of time creating order again. He's just starting to create. But you put something, if I put a pile of cups or something, it will knock them down. He's just starting to think about building them up. But the natural order of things is towards chaos. And their inbox is exactly the same. So it takes energy and effort to create order out of that. It takes a process. And this is something that David Allen talks about in his book and his movement around getting things done, GTD. Anyone familiar with GTD concepts? He's probably the leading productivity guy in America these days. We need a process, consistent, reliable, repeatable, takes a minimum amount of energy to capture the things that need our attention. Out of all of those emails in the inbox, which are the ones that need our attention? We need a process. We need some thinking time because we've got to use some mental energy to decide what needs to happen with each email. And then thirdly, we need a system that we can trust that's going to capture the results of that thinking and decision making so you don't have to do it internally all the time. That's what wears us out, is trying to keep track of this in our head. Make sense? And in the kickoff, we talked about how the current view of Outlook does not help us capture that, which is why we need that triage view. So we need a trusted system, and I've added to that, we need a system that captures what you need, stores it where you need it, and brings it back to your attention when you need it, so that mentally you're not having to do all of this. And that's what this triage system does. All good? That's the rationale. So every time we look at an email, we just make one of 4 decisions. And that's why the when strategy is so important, because it's hard to make decision making when you're distracted and interrupted. It's hard to think straight. Kelly, was it you? I left you with 70 or 100, 139 to do. I said, that'll take you 69 minutes. She said, it only took 20.
Yeah, it was, I think it was about 76 emails that I needed to process. And yeah, it took me about 20 minutes to do that once I applied the full D methodology. So it was brilliant.
And a block of time.
Yes.
The block of time was important.
Yep. And
very
prioritize that.
So that when strategy, and so controlling when, and then this is what you do, go through in 4D. All of you have seen this, I'm sure. The first, and all of the time management gurus I've studied talk about 4Ds. All of them. Some 5, but almost all of them 4, including myself. We talk about the 4D methodology. powerful, it's proven, it works. Kelly proved it just recently for herself. The first one is delete. I look at that email and I can delete it. If you're using triage method B, you would just leave it there, leave it in the inbox. Triage method B, use a flag. If it needs your attention, you flag it. If not, just leave it there. If you're using method A, consciously delete it. Secondly, and there's three sorts of emails to be deleted. Who still gets a bit of spam? Unsolicited email that comes in, you want to delete that. The second one you might delete is what a lot of people call spam, but it's not, because you and I give out our email address. If you want to download an app, do online banking and shopping, what do we have to give away? An email address. So you get stuff coming in. And make the decision, I never want to get it again, and unsubscribe. Or I'm happy to keep that coming, but this one I don't need, delete that one. Quantum specialist, yeah, delete. I don't want to delete it, don't want to unsubscribe, because I will be wanting to fly sometime, and I don't want to find out how did I subscribe to that? It's been coming for years. Just delete. Or even better, set up a rule that automatically goes to the junk folder, filters out of the inbox, and treat the junk folder as your reading folder for all of the stuff that you accumulate. Catch of the day, quantum specials, Harvey Norman, all that stuff goes off, doesn't come into your inbox. And we'll talk about that a bit later. Is anybody doing that now? You filter stuff off to the junk folder? I treat it as my reading folder, and I can very quickly scan, and I find 2 to 3% of the time to actually want to look at an email. There's a lot of emails I get I don't want in my inbox, but I don't want to lose track of them. They sit in the junk folder for 30 days and then they delete. If I haven't looked at it in 30 days, probably never will, or it's probably too late. Make sense? The third one you delete is a legitimate email. You needed to see it. You needed the information it delivered. But now that you've seen that, you can delete it. It's transactional. All good? Does that help anyone at all? Just realizing there are three sorts of emails to delete. Not everything is just delete, get rid of. You can siphon off to a reading folder. Good. The second action is deal with it straight away. This email, I can take the next action in 2 minutes or less. And that's the key criteria from David Allen. If the next action, it doesn't have to finish it, but if the next action will take 2 minutes or less, do it straight away. Sometimes you've got to slow down to speed up. Take the next action straight away. Some of you have been doing this for a while. What's your experience using that 2-minute rule? Who's forgotten about the 2-minute rule? Again, that's why that when strategy is so powerful. You won't slow down to take your time if you're not controlling when you're doing email. If you're doing it on the run or as an interruption, next one, next. Once you've got time, you give yourself permission mentally to think it through and identify next action. What I find is when I do that, I can often do the second, third, fourth, fifth action still within 2 minutes once I mentally unblock what the first step is. Has anyone found that? Once you actually stop and look at it, it's not that hard. Kelly, I'm sure you would have found that in your 20 minutes. Once you took time, it's not that hard at all, and you knock it over. Get it moving. And there's a sense of satisfaction in making progress, isn't there? One of the things that's very disempowering, very drains us of energy is this sense of unfinished business and not making progress. In email, in life. Once we feel we're making progress, we feel much better about it. David Allen says 33%. I've done the research twice. I did 2 3-week surveys on myself. Every time I looked at an email, I recorded what am I doing with it. And I found 34% of email I could deal with in 2 minutes or less. So you've got 2 experts saying the same sort of thing. And it's a great way to keep up with all your reading. As a subject matter expert, I need to read lots of stuff. And who does this? You create a reading file or reading pile. And when do you ever get back to that file or pile? We tend not to. So I picked up David Allen's idea of the 2-minute rule. I'll spend up to 2 minutes reading that the first time I come across it. It might be in the junk folder or an article. In fact, I got something in the mail just yesterday, which is the Executive Secretary magazine, which I contributed to. I had a quick look at my article, which is 3 pages. It's a ripper, actually. And it's called Why Your Inbox is Working Against You, specifically aimed at EA. So there's 1 page, and then there's a 2-page spread in there. And I'm talking about exactly what we were talking about in the kickoff session. It's going to play that game. I'll put it in front of my face. Talking about the setup of Gmail and we need the capture the when, what, when. So I quickly read that in 2 minutes. Finished, done. Don't have to create a file or poll later. I find that 80% of the time you have a 2-minute read, that's all you need, and you can delete it. 15% of the time, well, I want to have a closer look at that, and I'll click a link to open up a web browser, or I'll print it off and I'll read that when I'm having a cup of tea or coffee or lunch later that day. And about 4 to 5% I go, I want to have a closer look at that, and I'll block out 15, 30 minutes in the calendar to come back to this and really unpack that. That's an interesting take. I want to pick up on Cal Newport's article about AI and add something to my blog about that. But 80% of the time, slow down, look at it, bang, it's finished with. And it's not nagging you that there's something you haven't kept up with. Does that help anyone at all? 2 minutes, it's a powerful strategy in life. 2-minute rule. Next action, do it straight away. The third action is delegate. The third D, if the next action needs to be done by somebody else, delegate. You get a few of these from me, don't you, Kathy? I delegate to you, the hand pass. Somebody else needs to take the next action. So you forward it on to them. And then the last one, all of the time management people talk about defer. And I think there's a problem with that word. I don't think defer is the right word. Will you type into the chat or jump on the microphone? What else comes to mind when you see or hear that word defer? What does that mean in your head? Put off, delay, 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 put off. Yeah, there's another P I'm thinking of. It's a longish word. What do we do with these if we defer them? Procrastinate. Yeah, we procrastinate. And so it's no big deal for a couple, but once you have that habit, it tends to create a pile you can't jump over. So instead of the word defer, I reckon decide. I haven't got time, energy, resources to answer this email right now, but I can make decisions about it. And that's what the triage view does. So the decisions we need to make are for about 37% of email we need to come back to a second time and do a deeper dive in. So step one is to very quickly triage, sift, sort, prioritize like a triage nurse. And then we need to come back step 2 and give treatment to about 37% of email. So the triage process is really quite quick. It should only take you a few seconds each email. Pause if there's one that you can knock off in 2 minutes, then keep going. But for those that you need to come back to a second time and do a deeper level of thinking, we capture what needs to occur. Computer's just having a little think. I'll skip past this. This is something I thought I'd add, but I reckon it complicates things a bit more than it needs to. Anyone seen Covey's importance urgency matrix? And this was just showing where email fits into this. I'm online with PowerPoint and it's just having you. Can you see the wheel going around there? It's just a little bit slow. So for emails we need to come back to, we need to capture what am I going to do? Well, what's the priority? What's my next action? When am I going to do it? So on this importance urgency matrix, if it's urgent and important, you would deal with it straight away, usually a reply. If it's urgent but not important to you, delegate it to someone else to do it. I often pass it off to Kathy because it needs to be done quickly, but it's not urgent in my world, it's urgent in their world. And I make it urgent in Kathy's, so she deals with it. The third one, if it's not urgent and not important, delete it, get rid of it, get it out of your world. If it's not urgent, but it is important, these are the ones we need to come back to eventually. This is the first time I've been remote and I'm accessing PowerPoint online rather than on the computer. So if I need to come back to it, what's my next action? When am I going to do it? And we use that triage view to capture it. As we said in the kickoff, the biggest frustration is this view that you have does not let you capture that. So that's why we've set up the triage view. And just while it's having a little bit of slow down, Dale, Penny, Anthea, you've done this. Kelly, you've done it a little bit. Sabrina, what was the difference? Can you remember the difference between going from this view to the triage view? What were your largest memories of that shift, of that change?
For me, it just made it easier to just manage things visually. Like I felt like I had more control over everything.
Yeah, visually, there's lots of clutter with the old view, isn't there?
Yeah.
And you're constantly mentally sifting and sorting.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Became like an online diary, sort of, once you set it up.
An online diary, yeah. I call it a dated to-do list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just felt more in control. and it's just cleaner to look at. So that's the main one for me.
Cleaner to look at's important, isn't it? Visual clutter is amazingly wearing without actually realising it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other quick thoughts or comments while I'm waiting for this to come up to speed? What I might have to do is download it to this computer and run it from the desktop itself. I might do that. So let's just pause for a second. Let's just have a quick chat. Is the screen actually still showing, Kathy? Yep. Okay. Because I want to stop sharing, but it tells me I'm already sharing. Oh, you guys have a chat. I'm going to, oh, there it is up there. Particularly those that have done this before, why is it not continuing to work? I'm just going to download this so that it won't have that delay. Have a quick chat. What's stopped working for you, Penny, Dale, Anthea, Sabrina? Because this will be a good heads up for Kelly, Joe and Kylie as to some of the roadblocks they might come across over coming weeks and months.
I think I'm my biggest roadblock.
Say again.
I said I think I'm probably my biggest roadblock.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, don't follow through and complete what I was meant to do, and am left floundering with 1,000 emails looking at me. So yeah, I need to start again.
Yes, yes. It takes discipline, but this view will give you the best bang for buck for your discipline, and hopefully take the minimum effort and give you the maximum result from the work you did do. Thanks, Penny. Anyone else?
Yeah, Stuart, mine is, I guess I've got them all triage by date, but looking at my box now, I've still got some things on the 5th and 6th of June, 14th and 15th of July, which I haven't actually done. And I guess I haven't allocated time in my diary to do those ones in the calendar.
Yeah.
And I guess I can't remember whether we did it, but when I have an email, is there any way we can just drop that straight in a calendar date? Just convert it?
Yes, there is. And that's what we talked about in the calendar module. And we'll talk about it briefly today. Let me just see if I can. Here we go. I'm a male. I can't multitask. I'm trying to. Outlook's asking me for passwords, and I'm trying to listen to Dale and do the password. You keep talking. I'll get this done.
And probably I fall back on the other one I keep falling back on is I do leave my email box open and probably, dealing with it. It's just running at my desk all the time. I probably need to close it down and do my actions and don't treat it as my do list so much.
Yes. Yeah. The accessibility is the thing that really makes it really hard. Yeah. I was coaching a fella in Northam in WA a couple of years ago, and he just couldn't help himself. So I said, well, the trick is, Trevor, have a computer you only do email on in another room. Go in there, do your email. If there's any work to be done, get it in your calendar, then come back to your main computer, and the emails that need work on will be in your calendar, and get away from being in front of an inbox all the time, because it's too tempting. It's too easy. Yep. And again, that's the when strategy. Thanks, Dale. And Anthea, for you, it's the fact that you're having to go to the new Outlook shortly. Yep. Kathy, we're putting something on the blog page, aren't we, about the latest news on when the new Outlook will be forced upon us. I think, do you remember, it was September 28 or something?
Like anyway. when we have to start using it?
Yes.
I'll have to read back. Sorry.
Yeah, we did a bit of research. Kathy did a bit of research on that. We're putting it in our blog post. I had a feeling it was the end of next year, and they're going to gradually phase out, but the final stop-off point will be 2028. So we've got a little bit of time to learn how to use the new one.
I think they turn it off in 2029.
Yeah, turn it off completely. Let me go back to sharing my screen now that I've got my ducks in line. Thanks for waiting. Bottom line is that view that most of us have of our email gives us a constant low level of anxiety and worry, chaos, and so on. So we've set up Triage for the classic version of Outlook, which gives you priority, next action, and a due date. I've changed the due date. Trevor, Dale, back in your days, we probably called it that column due date. Is yours still due date? And Penny, yours still called due date? Yeah, what I found, geez, I'm slow, but it took me 4 years to work out when is a better question to ask ourselves. Use all the functionality of the due date column, but when do I need to get that done is a better question than what's the due date for that. And we can do the same in the new Outlook, Anthea. There's two ways, snooze and flags. And then it's the same for Gmail. Configure the email screen to help us capture what we need, where we need it, for when we need it. And then when you come back to doing today's emails, as you were saying, Anthea, it's like a dated diary or dated to-do list. You just work through them in order of priority from high to low. Because you've typed next actions, no need to read that email again. Just get on with it. And you'll restrict your focus to the ones you need to see today. Now, Dale, ones that you didn't get done on the 6th of June, you can just simply drag and drop them down to a date in future. So you don't need to type next action. It's fiddly to get into the due date column. Just click on that, drag and drop it, and reassign the date. That's one of the beauties about that grouping view in Classic Outlook, is you can very quickly drag and drop to another date. If the date you want isn't there, of course, you've got to go into that column, use the drop-down calendar. And that answers that question for you a lot of the time. Does that help?
Yeah, I've dragged and dropped them several times now.
Yes.
It's more about trying to get him into the calendar now, I think, to allocate time to them.
Yes. And then, so the next trick there is we can add a column called time. And you can start analysing, why am I not getting these done? Well, how long does it take? This is 15 minutes, this is 30 minutes. And then once you can see the amount of time, that becomes a strong motivator to go, okay, now I need to put it in the calendar. Just looking at a line across the screen can be hard. But once you say, how long is this going to take? This is why I'm not getting it done. I was working with the business analyst for McDonald's Corporation. Gus was his name. And we got Triage going, but there were still emails he wasn't getting to, and he was dragging and dropping a lot. And so I got him to have a time column. What we noticed, they were all 30, 60, 90-minute stuff. So there's the problem. You're trying to manage them in an inbox. We need to get them into the calendar. So it became the trigger to identify what then needs to go to the calendar. So just quickly, before we launch into Triage, how many emails are in your inbox now? Because that dictates whether we talk about Triage method A or Triage method B, which has got the added dimension of using flags. So 95, 60, thanks, Kylie. That's very manageable. Kylie, we can keep Triage view going in your inbox. Good, these are all sub 100 so far, that's fine. Come on, Penny. It's probably thousands, isn't it? That's okay. Were we using flags for you, Penny? We were, okay, good. Kelly's 2180. Now that's not the inbox, that's the mailbox, isn't it? Dale 8. What are you worried about, Dale? There's probably 8 hours worth of work there, though, in those 8, I suppose. All good. Okay, so we can talk about method A, and then in one-on-ones, I can talk about method B for those that might want to know about that. So here's method A. We go to the new unread email, and the key there is click on the unread tab. So just click on the unread tab. How many unread have you got? It's probably only a handful at most. So you can focus on making decisions on new ones you haven't looked at before. Unfortunately, that unread tab, as soon as you go to some other folder and come back, it goes to the all tab by default. So you've got to consciously click on the unread tab. But the key is go to unread emails that you have not seen before and just focus on making decisions on new emails. This is shallow thinking, fast decision making. This is the 4D triaging process. Delete, deal, delegate, or no, this needs attention, in which case you type in next action, priority if you can, certainly next action, certainly a when date. When am I going to come back to this? I see quite a few people type next actions, but not when. And quite a few do the opposite. They'll type when, but not next action. You need both. Your mind will not let go until you capture what is it I need to do? When do I need to do it? And then mentally, you'll let go. So if you skip steps in the process, you honeycomb your process and it's weak and it's harder to make it sustainable. Never miss a step. That's why we set it up across the page. Priority, next question, next action, next question, when. And never miss a step. If you're going to miss a step, I'm not upset if you miss priority, because in fact, it can be hard to prioritize new email. But when you go to, say, the 17 I've got for today, that's when it's important to prioritize. Out of my 17 today, what are the 3 or 4 that are high priority? What are the 3 or 4 that are low priority that I do late in the day, or I could drop if I had to? And you just spend 10, 15 seconds doing a quick prioritization on today. I don't mind if you miss it up front, but certainly can't miss next action and when. Give us some feedback, those that have been doing this, your experience if you weren't typing next action or when. You drop the ball on them, don't you? Good, I'll keep going. And then, of course, once you allocate those and you click enter, they drop into place. Kelly, you went from 77, just a mass of things on your screen, into a nice looking dated to-do list. And you're the one who's done that most recently. How did that feel when you'd finished?
Oh, it felt great. So I felt lighter. I think I said to you the other week, yeah, it was, it actually took me by surprise, like the impact that it had just after that short amount of time. So I just think going through this entire program, yeah, by the time we get to the end of it, will be, yeah, be amazing. So,
Yes.
and it just feels, yeah, like I said earlier, just more in control.
Yeah, great. So this system captures what you need, where you need it, when you need it, and you frees up headspace. You don't have to do that. Then you come back to the ones you've allocated for day and work through them. Good, good. The others can wait to their due date. So when you are working on today's emails, you tend to switch mindsets. Now it's deeper thinking that takes longer because you're getting more engaged with what actually has to happen. You're not a triage nurse now, you're like the surgeon. You've got to concentrate. That's why the when is even more important for these ones than it is for triaging. So we're shifting your view from chaos and clutter to calm and controlled. The only one here who hasn't done this is probably you, Kylie. Joe as well. Yeah, Kelly started the program. She got a bit of a head start, and others are coming back, have done this before. All good. We don't need to do a screenshot. So what I plan to do is, we've done the introductory session. We talked about 4D and the triage view. Now what I'd like you to do is practice that for 20 minutes for those that have got it set up. And I'll coach you. And then I'm going to talk about the new Outlook with Anthea and anyone else who wants to listen to that. So where's everybody at? Are you in a position where you can start practicing your 4D on the classic Outlook now? You can keep going with that for 10 or 15 minutes. So have you got what you need, Dale, Penny, to practice that process?
Yep, I'm good. Yep.
Good. Okay. Sabrina? Yep. Okay. What about you, Joe? I'm hoping you're still there, Joe, and just had to
Yeah, still here.
good. Okay, Penny. Let's grab a one-on-one when you have to go, Penny. The
Thank you,
one-on-one is
Stuart.
so
Sorry.
powerful. Kelly, you'll be able to tell because you're the most recent one. It makes such a difference, isn't it? Just getting a little bit of coaching assistance to fast track the changes you need to make. So grab me for one-on-one, probably next week, Penny, when I'm back in my normal environment.
No, I appreciate that, and apologies. I just had this for 11 to 11:30 for some reason. So
Yes. That was last week.
oh,
That was last week's session, the kickoff session. All good. Hopefully this has freshened you up, motivated you, and away you go. Let me help you speed that up and fine tune it next week sometime. You got to dip out, Sabrina. Yep, things happen. Good, good. What's the one step you totally missed, Sabrina?
It was the prioritizing.
Okay. Yep.
I just actually realized that line was there.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a little thing. Like I say, 10, 15 seconds. Okay, I've got 17, 20 to get through. What's the priority? Because you don't want to be beavering away for 45 minutes, then get distracted and go off. And the most important one's at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because of sequence of the dated order or something. Good,
Yeah.
good. Okay. So for those of you who are happy to keep having a play, what you could do is just mute your speakers so you're not distracted by us. And I'll do a little bit of coaching. So Kylie, have you had a bit of a play already? With your triage view, Joe?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with it a little bit now. I probably had a couple of questions, but yeah, I'm listening along. It's good.
Yeah, jump in with your questions because everyone else will have the same questions or will appreciate the answer, but they didn't think of the question. What are your questions?
Yeah, sure. So the way for me, Stuart, and I don't know, it could be a very simple explanation for this. So I'm just going to kind of, shoot from the hip.
Yes.
For me, I have a lot of emails in my inbox that I hang on to because it's information that I know I'll need to pull back on at any given time. So I don't know if that sounds ridiculous or not, but I work for a CEO, I'm an executive assistant, and I know that some of the stuff in my inbox, I'm like, someone's going to ask me about that. I'm just going to be like, I've got it. So is there a logical way of putting that somewhere, because it doesn't really have a due date on it and it doesn't really have an action? It's just I keep it because I know that I'm going to need to be pulled on it at some point in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone else will be in the same boat. What do some of the others do? Before I jump in, Anthea, Kelly?
I use OneNote. So I save a lot of my stuff like that into OneNote, and it's great. It's unreal. Yeah, it's definitely
searchable in OneNote,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah, powerfully searchable. That's one idea. Good.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have a system for that?
My system is folders. So I've been using that for quite a while. I'm more sort of operational.
Yes.
I also support our leadership team as well. And so I have everything from like travel and budgets and things like that. And just recently, it was only, I think last week or the week before, I was approached by our accounts department and I had to pull up an email from, I think it was about 2 years ago, and that was the proof that we had, that we did need to pay a certain invoice. So yeah, I just use those folders. I don't know whether that's the correct way, but it's been working for me for a while. So
working for you, good. My take on it is just have one folder called reference folder for all the stuff you want to refer to, in a quick space. That way you're not going through the extra steps to get it into OneNote. That might be a bit of too much work. And you haven't got it buried in a whole lot of folders. You've all got it in just one reference folder, which you keep in your favorite section. So you've got quick reference to it. Does that make sense, Joe? One of those.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to hear other people's kind of takes on it. I have used OneNote in the past. I have used a combination of things throughout my career, and it's just trying to find what really works, what's really effective and works and sticks. Because, as you're saying, even with the triage in your inbox, it's just getting something that sticks, and then you can master it, instead of jumping around.
Over 20 years, I think the reference folder is the quickest next step. It's in your favorites area. It's just there, and all of the bits and pieces of all different topics are in one single folder that you can refer to, and you just clean that up once a quarter, once every 6 months, or say, okay, I'm not referring to that anymore. Now I can put it in one of my more extensive folders, or pop it into OneNote, so that I know that it's there and I can search for it later. But the easiest next step would just be have a dedicated reference folder, I think.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you. I do have one other question, if I can jump in.
Sure.
My other question is around categories. Again, logical ways of using categories, because that's the way I have managed my inbox for many years.
Yes.
And I note with the new setup, which I did yesterday, the new setup, obviously your categories then kind of get scattered throughout your inbox. I know you can search by categories to get them to come up, etc. But yeah, is there a logical way of using those that you
got
would
a quick
suggest?
fix for you for that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's very helpful to look at your inbox by the category of work or the sort of work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So we set up a triage view, and what we'll do is to set up a categories view. In fact, why don't we do that now? If you're happy to share your screen, I'll do that now.
Oh, okay. I'm actually jumped in on an iPad, so it's a little bit difficult for me.
No problems.
I'm happy to do it. I'll just need to swap over to my actual laptop, that's all.
Sure, we can pick this up on a one-on-one. I can show online.
That'd be great. Sure, thanks.
Good. Anyone else got some questions at this point? Let me find, what am I looking for here? I'm looking for, stop sharing the screen. It might be easier if I'm the guinea pig that shows the inbox so that you're not embarrassed. What I've got to do, again, I'm out of I'll fish out of water here. Trying to find, yes, no, I can't because I'm not on my own computer. Good. Who is happy to share the screen so I can coach you through, and then others can watch on and pick up? I might just pause the recording, Kathy, so it's not once someone does share the screen, so that's not captured. But your Kelly.
I'm happy to share mine, Stuart.
Okay, Dale. Yeah, thank you. I'll just make you a co-host so you can do that. Make you a co-host. So this will let Kylie see what it should look like down the track.
Did you want me to
So if
pause
you
it, Dale?
pause this.
No, I've got nothing
Okay.
confidential on mine.
Awesome.
Should be able to share the screen when you're ready, Dale.
So I just share and I just click on.
Good, that's coming up now. There we go, the dated to-do list. There's a few that are overdue.
That's what I was saying. They're the ones that I keep pushing down and haven't allocated to a calendar time. That's what I've got trouble with.
Right. Okay, there's a couple of things we can do here. But let me just answer any questions you've got firstly.
Yeah, so I guess, e.g., I've got this one that's still sitting in my current inbox.
Yes.
But I know I've probably got to spend about an hour, 2 hours on this one. It's for budgets next year.
Yep.
And I just want to zot that into a calendar time frame. And
Yes.
the thing is, can I just, I know.
Yeah, so here's the quick way. We unpack this in detail in module number 2, but just right click on that email. Click copy at the top of that list. Go to your calendar.
Calendar, yep.
Now, how much time do you need to work on this?
I reckon probably an hour minimum, probably 2.
Okay, an hour. When have you got time? Which is all the white times. And then the third question is, which would be the best time for this given the rest of your workload? So double click that hour that you'd like to drop it into. Double click to open up a new appointment at that particular time.
Okay, yeah.
In the bottom window, right click and paste, or you could have used Control C and Control V.
Yeah.
Just paste there. Good.
Yep.
Now go up to the title. What is it that you actually have to do? Remember, make the first word a doing word. Update budget, predict, what's the doing word? Same as when we type next actions in the inbox, the first word should be your action word. So when you come back to it, it's blindly obvious what you have to do and you don't procrastinate on it, trying to work it out. Update budgets, good. Now, allocate the time. Now, across the top, you've got show as busy. You can also show as out of, see that drop down next to busy in your ribbon?
Yeah.
Yep. Just click, they're the options. So you let others in the share calendar know that this time's not negotiable because I'm busy or because I'm out of office. Under that, you've got a reminder.
Yep.
Do you need a reminder? If so, is 15 minutes appropriate? Or do you want a reminder 5 minutes before or 2 days before? That's where you can allocate reminders. If it's recurring, you can add recurring. If you want to add a category, you could add a category here as well. What category of work is it? What sort of work is it? If it's confidential, you can click the private padlock.
Yeah, no. It's just for our team. Yeah.
Good. Now just put your cursor in the window at the bottom.
Yep.
And now you can capture any thoughts associated with it. Oh, check the XYZ file. I asked Jenny about last year's budget. Anything that comes to mind, you can capture here. So what you need to remember is stored where you need it for when you need it. Yeah. So you do a brain dump. Get it out of your head so it's not spinning around nagging you when you don't need to know. You don't risk forgetting when you do need to know. And then just hit save and close. In fact, before you hit save and close, just double click it again. Now click on that, see that envelope icon?
Yeah.
Just double click on that. There's your email, and you can reply from here without having to go back to the inbox.
Okay.
So now that it's in your calendar, you can go back and file or delete the one that's in the inbox because you've got this version here.
Okay, so so this one's still here, righto. I can.
So now you can file or delete. It's finished with at the inbox level.
Yep. So the other thing you'll see, I use folders to file all my stuff, and I've got far too many folders, and I know that, but it's
we talk about that in the third module because that's a whole module on itself, handling the back end of the process. A couple of things I noticed: the size column you don't need. Do you use the reading pane, Dale? The preview pane?
No,
you don't use it. Okay. So how do you make decisions about emails? You have to double click the email to see what it is. to then
Yeah, I
make-
do. I double click on each one as I go down.
And then you click to close it. So that's 3 clicks just to look at it. Whereas if you had a reading pane, it would save you 3 clicks times 10,000 emails this year. That's 30,000 clicks times the next 10 years. That's 300,000 clicks that you could save. Why don't we use the reading pane?
I don't know whether we ever
Comfort.
set it up. Well, I got a new laptop,
Yes.
and I had to work out how to get the guys to reset it because I couldn't remember how to set up my triage screen. I think the guy's done it, but we probably left off the reading pane, and I've never worried too much about getting it back.
I noticed you've got a time column, so we must have set that up in the past.
Yeah, you did, because I had like 500 emails, I think, at one stage when we first started, and just to allocate time and fix them.
Yeah. So a couple of things. If you're not going to use the reading pane, make the next action column wider so you can type some meaningful next actions. So next action column can be wider.
Okay, yeah.
Good. The second column, which is a bell icon, you could remove that. Just right click on the bell. And most of you, Kylie, you'll probably have to do this as well. Right click on the bell and then come down halfway, remove this column. We don't need this column.
Yep.
The size column you don't need if you've got a reading pane, because you can see the size of any attachments in the reading pane. So you start to reclaim some space to have a wider next action. I also noticed this, if you go to the View tab,
View up
and
here.
then View Settings at the bottom, click, that's it, sorry, you're right, View Settings, then come to Other Settings, and you've got no grid lines, so let's add some grid lines. About the second box down, it says no grid lines. Choose the drop down and make that solid grid lines. It'll make placing your mouse down the bottom solid.
Solid,
probably the best. Click OK. Click OK. And now it's going to be a lot easier to put your mouse exactly where you want it because you've got grid lines.
Yeah, and I think I said we had them, but once I got a new laptop and I lost all my settings, and
Yes. So put your cursor in the time column for the Rob Watson one.
Yep.
And type 60 M for minute. And then hit enter. And you can just very quickly go through 60M, enter, 5M, enter, 2M, enter, and very quickly go through all of your emails and work out how much time they're going to take.
Yeah.
So does that answer all the questions you need from me for the moment? Obviously,
yeah, it does.
Those
Thank
red
you.
ones are overdue. So allocate a next action and a when date. If they've already got a next action, reallocate the due date or the when column heading.
Yeah.
In fact, let's get you with a when column heading, because I think that might help you make those decisions. Go to View Settings. Everyone else follow along if you can. Second button on the ribbon, View Settings. At the bottom, Format Columns. From the left-hand list, select Due Date. And where it says Due Date under Label, change that to When. When am I going to attend to this? When am I going to come back to this? Above that, where it says Format, let's also get rid of the year. You don't need the year, because it uses up space unnecessarily. Select the third one down, which doesn't have the year. You want the day, you want the date and month, but don't need the year. Click that. Yes. Click OK. Click OK. And again, it's using less of your column width so that you can have the opportunity to bring back your reading pane.
Yep.
Does that answer what you need from me for the moment?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good, good. Stop sharing your screen. Anyone else now got some questions that might have been stimulated by that conversation?
Were you going to show something on categories then?
Yes, good question. Who's interested in being able to see things by categories?
I am.
Joe is, but she can't share the screen.
Thanks. I can share it if you need me to. I just have to go into my other computer.
Kylie, you were nodding, and I'd love to get you started. So if you're happy to share your screen, I'll just make that possible for you. And Kylie is where all of us were at one stage. She's just starting.
Well, I
So
use
on this-
categories more so in my boss's emails rather than mine.
Sorry, I was missing that. Say again.
Oh, sorry, I said I use categories more so in my boss's emails rather
Yes.
than mine. So
Yes.
that was a system we tried to create. So anyway, do you want me to try sharing my
If you
screen?
can share your screen, are you comfortable doing that on Zoom? You know how to do that?
Yep, I'll just
Green
click
share
that
button, then
one.
choose the screen.
Yep.
Because there's a few things you won't have set up because they're refinements to the Triage view, which I'll get you to set up.
Yep.
And if anyone's missing them, I noticed, Dar, for example, you've got the collapse all groups button, but it's in the very top left corner of your screen and it's hard to access. It's that, I think it's a blue circle. Or
Yeah.
So the icon next to that, and I'll do it with Kylie's and you follow through, because
Yep.
Kelly, already you probably find you use that button a lot, that collapse all groups button. Because your screen's a mess, collapse all groups, sanity again.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I
Anthea,
thought
are you, well, just while we're waiting for Kylie to get that set, are
there it
you
is.
on New Outlook 100% of the time, or are you still dabbling between the two?
No, I'm using it all the time, Stuart.
All the time. Okay. So
Yeah.
bear with us while we.
No, that's good because some of this stuff I forgot too. So it's like, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this is Kylie's screen. Good. And you've started putting next action and when dates. Great.
Yep, following along.
Any quick questions from you, Kylie, before I show you a few things?
No, it's very basic at this point, of course. Just trying to get my head around what you've been letting us know this morning. So that's been good so far.
Okay, good. Before I show you anything, anyone else got some comments or thoughts? Because it'll make you think. I'm asking others, what needs to change? What needs to be improved here with Kylie's view? All right, go on. First thing, the received column is next to the when column. You've got two date columns next to each other. I recommend moving the received column to the left of the from column. I think it should be the first major column. What date was it received? Bring that across to the left of from. One more. Good. The size column you don't need. Right click on the size column heading.
Yeah.
And halfway down, remove this column. Same for the mention column. It's an Outlook's attempt to use the @ symbol. Most of us are not using it, so let's get rid of that clutter. Now you can make the received column narrower, the subject column narrower, and we're opening up space for writing some quite complex, meaningful next actions.
Yep.
Good. And now, do you use categories yourself?
Not a lot, a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, okay. You might start using it a bit more when you can see some of the advantages of that.
Yep.
Good. Now go to the middle of your ribbon. There's a expand/collapse. Right in the middle of your ribbon. There's three. That's it.
Yeah.
Left click on that. Click on collapse all groups. The third one down. Right click on the third one down. And then click add to quick access toolbar. And then you'll see there's a blue circle in the top left corner of your screen.
Oh, yeah.
Just click that blue circle. This is your magic blue pill. Takes away the pain.
Oh.
It collapses all the groups. So now you've only got 2 groups, but we saw Kelly had a dozen or so. Dale had a dozen or so. Because as you advance, you'll have multiple dates and it creates lots of clutter. The only ones you need open are the none and whatever today's date is.
Oh, okay.
Now, next to the blue button, and you follow this, Dale, there's to the right of that, click that icon to the right, and then come down second from the bottom, show below the ribbon. Now your blue circle is there and it's got a label on it, so you know what it is, and it's quicker and easier to access below the ribbon than right at the edge of the screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Just expand the none section by clicking the little arrow to the left of none. Yeah, so what you need to do is go through allocate next action and a when date. When you hit enter, it drops into the date that you allocate. So you might practice that for a few minutes while I talk to a few others.
Yeah, great.
Stuart, can I just ask you to explain how you got to that view again, and the little blue button came up, because I just missed the first bit of that.
Right in the middle of the ribbon, when you're on the view tab, there's expand collapse. You just might go and click it again, Kylie. You know where it is now. I have a hard time getting people to find this button.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of your ribbon.
Yep.
Expand/collapse. Left click there. Then right click on collapse all groups, Joe.
Okay, mine's just blanked out. Like I can't actually use it.
Okay. I'll show you why.
Mhm.
Kylie, if you'd be good enough to go to the View Settings button, second one on your ribbon. If you do the same, Joe, and
Yeah.
this is good. This is the most common thing that goes wrong. See the Group By button, and next to it, it says due date. Joe, yours probably says none.
Correct. Yeah.
That's right. So click on it, and then you select due date as Kylie's screen is showing.
Got you. Okay.
Because it's not grouping, you can't use the collapse all groups because there's no groups.
Yeah.
That's the most common thing that goes missing is your grouping. Because you click inadvertently somewhere else on the screen,
Yeah.
it either becomes categories, grouping by categories, or you lose it. You might have to go back to this several times and make sure, no, it's due date. Then click OK. Does that fix it for you, Joe?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kylie.
Okay. And expand collapse, and then just do collapse all groups. Is that correct?
Right click on collapse all groups, add to quick access toolbar, and then that'll give you a blue circle in the top left corner. Get it below the ribbon by choosing show below ribbon. Excellent. Okay. So
Great. Thank you.
One thing I want to do, who would like to have a categories view? Who's already using categories in your inbox?
Yes, me.
Yeah, someone other than you, because you can't share the screen. And anyone else using categories? Sabrina, were you using categories in the past? I just wanted someone to share the screen so I can show everyone how to set up a categories view. Joe would be the obvious one, but
Yeah, look, I can jump on. I just have to set it up that I'm jumping onto my laptop rather than.
yeah, you go and do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
mind.
give us another.
I was going to say I can share my screen. I've just got to disappear shortly. That's all.
Okay, away you go, Sabrina, if you do this. So, Kylie, this view will help you when you're looking at your boss's inbox. Joe, this will help you if you're using categories and want to have that view. It's really quite simple. And with 2 clicks, you can change the view. And that's better than trying to change the parameters on your existing view, because then you've got to change it back. So views are like a set of glasses. Some of you wear glasses. I've got lots of different glasses. I've got a half glass, I've got sunglasses. Instead of changing the lens in one set of frames, I just pull off one set of glasses, pull on another. It's the same with this. We set up a different set of glasses or a different view. So I don't change the parameters of the glasses, I just change the view. How are you going there, Sabrina?
Oh, hang on. Share.
There it is.
Sorry, I found the scroll. I was like, I'm sure I'm sharing.
For
Which one are
those
you
that-
on?
For
Yeah.
those that want to do it, go to the View tab across the top of the screen, click the View tab. So File, Home, Send, Receive, Folder, View, right across the top of your screen, above the ribbon. That's it. Then click the Change View button on the far left and come down to Manage Views. Now select the Triage view and click the Copy button on the right-hand side and call this your Categories view.
He's already got one there.
That's fine. This will show you how to set it.
Yeah,
Just put-
I'm
just put-
just a big
just-
really.
Put the number 2, otherwise it won't accept it. Click OK. And then the one thing we need to do is change the group by, instead of being due date, we want to group by categories. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we want this to be all collapsed. That's the best view, is all collapsed. Click OK. Click OK. And now click Apply View. And there's all of your work grouped by categories. Sometimes when you're doing one work in accounts, you might as well do all 3 of them.
I'm a
Okay.
bit behind, Stuart. Sorry. So in the group by, it's categories and then by due date. Was that correct?
No, just categories. And in the bottom, go to modify there. That's it, Sabrina. Click group by. In the bottom right-hand corner, you've got the options to all expanded, all collapsed, or as last viewed. The best option for categories is all collapsed. The best option for triage view is as last view.
Got you.
Slightly different when you're using categories. Click OK again, Sabrina. Then when you want to change view, click OK again, Sabrina. All you do is go to change view. And select your triage view again.
Got you.
So with 2 clicks, you switch between triage view.
Yeah. That's fabulous. Okay.
Sabrina,
Yep.
Sabrina, just go to view settings. I've got a feeling there's one thing that needs to be changed. Click the group by button. And as I thought, in the bottom left right-hand corner, it's all expanded, which is the worst possible view. As last view is the one you want. All collapse will drive you mad as well. As last view, you want the same. You want it when you go somewhere else and come back. You want it to look the same as when you were last looking at it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets really frustrating. Thanks, Sabrina.
Cool. Awesome.
So were you able to follow along there, Kylie? So with 2 clicks, change the view. I'm seeing by category. 2 clicks back, and now I'm seeing by due date. I use due date 95+% of the time, but there are times categories can be quite useful. And if you use it a lot for your bosses, then you've got access to it with just 2 clicks. All good?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, what I'll do now is I'm going to talk to Anthea about the new Outlook. If you want to just mute your speakers and continue working on your own, feel free to do that. If you want to listen in to what we do with the new Outlook, feel free to join us. So it's up to you. Kylie, I think you'll have yours under control in no time. And you too, Joe, I think you'll have that under control very quickly.
Yeah, this should be quite straightforward.
So if you want to stay for this section on Outlook, well and good. I'm just going to maximize my screen. And then I'll share the screen. Just before I do, how's everybody going? Are we going too fast, too slow? Everybody content with where you're at? If
That's
not,
good.
pick me up for a one-on-one, then we can do it at your pace and answer your specific questions. But a group setting is great as well, because others will ask questions you wouldn't think, but you're loving the answer. So when it comes to triage, there are 2 options for the new Outlook. Method A is snooze, use the snooze function. Method B is use flags. So let's have a quick look at these. You do the same 4Ds, delete, deal with straight away, delegate. But when it comes to making a decision, because you need to come back to it later, you can either snooze, hit the snooze button, or the flag button. So let's talk about snooze, because this is almost exactly the same as those using Gmail. So step 1 is go through your 4D and triage incoming email. If it needs, so you do delete, deal, delegate, but if it needs to be, you need to come back to it later. What we need to do is, I'll forget that, is what sort of action. Unfortunately, with the snooze, you cannot add a column. You cannot type what your next action is going to be. So we need to set up probably half a dozen generic ones. Excuse me a second. So under categories, you could set up your primary sort of actions you tend to take. Is it a read only? Is it a reply? Is it a review? Is it something you need to schedule in the calendar? These are just some suggested ones. Does that make sense? When we're using flags, we can type next actions, but when we're using snooze, we can't. So we've got to come up with some of the most common ones. All good?
Yep.
Everyone know how to set up categories in the new Outlook? Do you know, Anthea?
Yeah, that's how I'm managing my inbox at the moment.
Good. So what you do is when you're looking at an email, you select the category, and then you click the snooze button to allocate the when date. And it prompts you with these prompts, or you can click choose a date to choose a date that isn't one of the prompts. Make sense? When you do that, it disappears out of the inbox and it goes to the snooze folder, and your snooze folder becomes like your data to-do list. Unfortunately, you can't group it, so it's just one big screen full of stuff, but at least it's in date order. You can see what your next action is, because when you add a category, it puts the category at the start of the subject line. So that's what needs to happen when it needs to happen. It's not the greatest, but it keeps you in the inbox, because flags will take you out of the inbox, which you may not like. Any questions? So when we're doing 4D, add a category by using the categorize button and have your drop-down list, add a snooze and choose your time, your when from that drop-down list. All good? Then your snooze box looks like this. It's out of the inbox. When that date and time comes up, it pops back into the inbox and gets your attention. So it's out of sight, out of mind, but it's not out of control. It's in the snoozed folder. Okay. Anybody got any questions on that? What we might do is a little show and tell. I don't use the new Outlook, so mine's quite messy, but this will be good. Everyone seeing my new Outlook? So here's one from Marianne. What am I going to do with that? I can choose delete. I can reply, which is deal with it straight away. I can forward, which is delegate, or I need to come back to this. So I now go to categorize. This is going to be I'm just going to read it. When am I going to do that? I'll do that this evening. And it disappears out of the folder. It's now in the snooze folder. All good. And I can make this wider. And so it's like that. Back to the inbox. Calendly, new event. That's Sabrina's booked in a 101. That'll be in my calendar, so I can delete this. Level 1 wine bar. I like going to the level 1 wine bar. 27th of July. No, still going to be in Melbourne. Can't make that. Delete that. There's my Coles statement. So I do need to do something with that. I will need to take some action on that. Go to all categories. I need to review that. When will I do it? I'll usually do that on a Friday. All of my Friday stuff, custom time. I'll still be in Melbourne, so that I'm going to push that to the 1st. And I'll look at that at about 2 o'clock. Not in the morning, no chance. Give me nightmares at 2 in the morning. I'll deal with it then. Now it's in the snooze folder for the 1st of August. And it'll pop back into my inbox if I forget about it. I'll do one more. Naked Wines. I've stopped dealing with them because I'm going overseas. I don't want them to be sending me wine when I'm not here to drink it. So I'm going to delete that. That's just telling me that I put in an application. I can delete that. Here's one from Kathy asking about getting the testimonial. I've already replied to that, and I can tell that because I've got this button here. But I want to follow up with Kathy. So I'm going to categorize and all categories. And if you haven't got a follow-up one, then it can be really good to have a follow-up one. I've delegated that, and let's say I'll snooze that until tomorrow. So you're getting the sense of the flow there if you use snooze.
Yep.
Pretty simple, but your next actions are very generic.
Yep.
And you just go through and clean up your inbox, and now your snoozed folder is effectively the stuff that really matters. The other thing I would do is I would tend to filter by, I'm only looking at unread. So you're only looking at new ones. And you're not seeing the clutter of unfinished items. All good?
Yep.
Okay. Anyone got some questions on that at all? Okay. So now I'll show you method B. So I'll maximize this screen. Now, one of the ways you can speed this up is have those 4D next actions actually on the line for each email. So the way that you add those is you go into the settings, which is that gear icon and towards the top right of your screen. And it opens up this. Let me do this live if I go to here. So we click this settings icon and you go to mail and was it message handling? Customize actions. So when you tick these boxes, these icons will appear on the line for each email. Yep. So you certainly want delete. You may or may not want pin. Pin's good for 2-minute ones, and you pin 3 or 4 2-minute ones to the top of your inbox and go back and do them in a batch. Flag, if you're using flags, move to a folder. So whichever ones you tick are then available here on this line. So you're not having to go to your ribbon. What you need is there. That's move to a folder, archive, that's flag it, that's pin it, that's delete.
Yeah, it only lets you do 4, Stuart, so you can only select 4.
Okay, I hadn't noticed it were restricted.
Yeah, because I tried to add another one, it says you can only do 4.
Okay, thanks for that. Again, that's one of the things that Microsoft need the feedback so that then they'll expand it to 6.
Yeah.
You know, they had 30 years of developing Classic Outlook, so it's got lots of functionality. This one's new, and they're waiting for us to tell them what we need. So we're the guinea pigs, road testing their version of Outlook. All good. Any other questions on that one? So that helps the 4D process because they're all in one short space.
Yep.
You can also add them as quick steps. You might want to add them into the quick steps area. So you create quick steps in Classic, but you can also do it in the new Outlook. And so there's your 4D process. Let me come back to the online version of mine. So in this quick steps area, I can delete deal with it straight away, which will, so if I click that, it opens up on another screen of reply. Here it is. So I can reply to that. I want to cancel that. Because I have done that, I'll go back to filtering. And let's say I want to forward that. Or I want to flag it. So I can flag it. I can flag it there, or I can flag it there. I've got two choices. Or maybe I wanted to allocate a snooze. So I can put today, and now it asks me what category I want to review that. And it snoozed it for today. So there it is there. There's the category, and it's snoozed to today. So you can use quick steps to speed up some of these things. I go back to inbox, choose yes or no. Let's say tomorrow. So I say, I want to deal with this tomorrow, but it forces me to now also add a next action. That's a read-only categorize. That's gone. That's in the snooze function. Does that help? So there's a few different ways, and you choose the one you feel more comfortable with, which will give you best results. So the manual system is categorize and snooze. You can quicken that up by using quick steps, and you can have the option to add them here as well. Is this helping anyone watching? Any questions? Let me pause here in case you've got some thoughts or questions or feedback. Anthea, you're the one who's actively using New Outlook. Is this helping?
Yeah,
How is this different?
definitely. The snooze I didn't have. I had the categories, but that's good because then I can, snooze them until I need them, which just removes them out of that main inbox.
Reduces the clutter,
Yeah.
out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah.
but it's not out of control. You know where it is if you need to go and get it. Otherwise, you can forget about it. It's going to pop back into your inbox when you asked it to.
Yep.
Good. Okay.
Awesome.
Yep, talked about quick steps. So what you can do also is you can set up those categories so they look like folders. It's just another nice tool. This might be a bit of gimmicky. I'm not convinced of this. I'm just playing with it at the moment. Oh, I stopped sharing then, didn't I? I didn't want to do that. I wanted to hit the escape button so I could come back to here. So I've set them up, and you just add them as search folders of a certain category. So all the actions, so instead of having categories view, this would be a categories view. So I can go and see all my actions, and they're all listed together. All the reviews are listed together. All the things I've delegated are listed together, but they're not actually folders. All of these are still in the snooze, but this is a filter. It finds the ones that are actions only or review only. I'm almost tempted to say, don't do this because it just creates clutter. It is like your snoozed folder broken up into what the different snoozed actions are. Have I lost some of you? Is this still making sense?
No, I don't like that idea.
No, I think it's got problems that come with it.
Yeah.
But it is possible. For example, Kylie, that might be useful for a boss. That way, you go, what are all my signatures? Where are all my approvals? You can have them. They're in the snooze folder, but I just want to see the 3 approvals without having to sift through my snooze folder. That might help. I'm thinking that's an example. All good?
Yep.
Let me see what else. No. So that answers the what question. If you're looking for, so that's like the equivalent of categories view in Classic. And the snooze folder is answering the when and what questions all in one place. When it comes to using those snooze dates, this is Outlook's configuration. When you click today, it's saying the current date, and it'll give you a reminder 1 hour before the end of whatever your workday is. Your workday is how your calendar's set up. It might be 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. When you click tomorrow, it's saying obviously current date +1, and it's saying the start time of the current day +1 workday. So that'll probably say 9 o'clock tomorrow. When you click this week, so that's telling you what the parameters are. That might be useful to understand. Right. Yeah, and that's how you would set up the quick steps. So that they're at the top of your ribbon. I won't complicate things by going through that now. I think you're familiar with quick steps, Anthea. Yeah, so if anyone wants to learn that, we can do that in a one-on-one for the new Outlook. And then using quick steps helps you categorize, because remember when I clicked today, it then said, okay, well, what category do you want? So that then answers the when, what, and where. So then when I archive it, it will drop into that category as well in the archive folder once I've finished dealing with it. So who's getting inspired by, hey, there's all these steps of automation that will organize my stuff once I know what they're doing? Okay, let's have a look at method B, because I think this is probably superior, but it takes out a little more work. So whenever you do the 4Ds, delete, deal, delegate, if this one needs attention, simply flag it. When you flag it, it will appear in the flag section of your to-do app. So you've got to go to the to-do. Then when you click on the email, it'll open up a new panel. And in this panel, you can now add a step, which is the next action. You can type in, what's my next action? The advantage of this one is you can actually type in multiple next steps. Whereas with your next step column in Classic, you'll tend to only type one step. There's not a lot of room. I'll show you this live in just a second. So that's my next action. Then you come down to here and allocate your date. When am I going to come back to it? Then it goes into the plan section, which you can divide, you can group into today, next week, later. And then you can go to my day and just look at the ones you've allocated for today. So you narrow your focus to just today. Let me show you that live. Oh, this is the button I want to click, and then I want to go to the engine. So I'll go to the inbox, and let's say this one, I've already flagged that. Let's say from Kathy, I'll flag that, and I'll flag this booking.com. Once I've flagged them, they're now in the to-do app, which is this blue tick on the side in New Outlook. And this can be, I'm hoping Outlook will tidy this up. This view can be quite messy. I go to flagged email, and because I've set up that when I flag an email, it doesn't give it a date, it's come down to the bottom to this. I'll just collapse these to this no date section. So there's the email I flagged from Kathy. I highlight that. Now I can go and add a next step, blah, blah, blah. I want to add another next step, blah, blah, blah. So I can add multiple next steps. And then I choose a date. And again, same as with the snooze, I can choose today, tomorrow, next week, or I can pick a date and say, let's make that the 1st of August. I click save. Now it disappears out of this no date section. And it will be in my planned work. I'll just collapse these groups. It'll appear here under later, and it'll be 1st of August. There it is there. If I actually change that date to today, now it will appear in my today section. And if I go to my day, then I'm only looking at the ones I've allocated for today. Because this is online, it's just taken a little bit of time to load up. And the other advantage here is you can add manual tasks. You can add tasks that are not email related and control it all in one space.
Stuart, that's the same as the to-do list in your Teams meetings. Like we have Teams with our group,
Yes.
and we have our to-do list. It's set up exactly the same as that.
Yes. Yeah. So when I go to my day, it's just taking its jolly good time because it's online syncing, but it will appear here. So I flag it to say, hey, this needs attention. I then go to flagged email, allocate next step, next action, and due date, drops it in, and now I've got a dated to-do list. Once I don't have any to make decisions about, I just go and work on the ones I've got for today. If I want to see my workload spread out over time, it's there. And again, this. The advantage is it gets you out of the inbox, which would be good for you, Dale. The disadvantage is it's a little more clunky, it's a little more work. I'll go back to the inbox now. The emails are flagged as still there. Because it's flagged and in the to-do, theoretically I can file or delete it now and manage it at the to-do level. So once I flag it, I can delete it. So what I could do is set up a quick step that would do that. Flag, categorize, and then file it. So I'll choose this email from, let's choose another one from Kathy. I can go to quick flag categorizing file. So it's going to flag it. I can categorize it as in where do I want it to be. So I'll go review, click categorize. And it's gone missing. It's filed already in my archive folder. In the to-do app, if I go to flagged email, see, this is one of the annoyances. I need a collapse all groups button for the new Outlook. So it'll be in there and then I sort it out. The way to get around that is in your classic Outlook. When you flag an email, you can set what the default date will be. And you might want to make it today so you're not scrolling to the bottom. Unfortunately, none is at the bottom of this section, whereas today's at the top. So there's a little bit of playing around. Any questions, Anthea, on using flags?
Yeah, I don't think I'll use that either. It's too
Okay.
clunky.
Yeah, it is clunky. But once you get past the clunkiness and it becomes a habit or a system, I think it'll be a superior system. But there's a bit of work to get there.
Yeah.
All good. So let's just do a review. Where are we at? What questions come to mind? I'll stop sharing there for the moment. Who's glad you're not using the new Outlook at the moment?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think I could get used to it.
Yeah, it's not really that bad. At first, you just got to reorganize the way you do things. But once Stuart's just showed us, it's not that bad.
Well, what I say to people is you've got to have a new process and a new application or a new app. Only focus on one of them at a time. The reason it's probably pretty good for you, Anthea, is you've got a good 4D process going. Now you can just apply it to a new tool. For someone like Kylie, get your 4D going on a tool you're familiar with first. And then once you've got a good, robust process going that's consistent, sustainable, now you'll have the wherewithal to apply it to a new tool. Trying to do both at once is overwhelming. It's too much.
Absolutely.
Too much all at once. Yep. So if you were a bit bamboozled by that, it's because Kelly and Kylie in particular, and Joe, it's because you're trying to learn a new process. That's enough on its own.
Yeah.
All good. Anthea found it fairly breezy because she's got a good process and you've been using New Outlook. You've been dabbling with it for a while.
Long time, yeah.
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 If you want to dabble with New Outlook, use the online version, have a play with the online version, keep your desktop version going using the classic, but start having a bit of a play when you've got some time and headspace, and get familiar with it slowly without having to jump out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah. Stuart, I have a question that I'm not sure, you might have already answered this at some point and I've just missed it. But for instance, I've got my inbox with, my 95 emails sitting in it.
Yes.
When I hit obviously you can hit the when button up the top and it will put the stuff that does have a due date on it, we'll put it up to the top of the inbox. So you can either have it sitting at the bottom or sitting at the top.
Can you share your screen now, Joe?
No, I wasn't able to get on to my laptop. Okay. It was being a bit silly.
Yes.
I mean, I can do a private, do a one-to-one with you on this if you like, and I can share it then. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
So you're clicking the when column heading. Is that the question you're asking?
Yeah, and it will it will send them either up to the top or to the bottom. So at the moment, I've got about 10 things that have got a due date on them.
Yes.
Sitting at the top, and then it's just got none on the remainder because I haven't gone through them yet to actually put a due date on them.
Yes.
When it sorts those dates for the due dates, it puts the one that's due the longest, it puts it at the bottom of the pile. Is there any way to put it at the top?
Yes, there is. Very simple. But why would you do that? Why would you want?
So I'll be looking at what's oldest if I'm looking at them all together.
What do you mean by oldest?
Yeah. So for here, I've got something that was due, let's say last Friday, the 18th of the 7th.
Yes.
But the one that's sitting at the top of the inbox is not due until the 15th of the 8th.
Yes. Okay. Dale, if you'd be happy to share your screen again, I can show and answer this question and everyone can see that. Because I'm thinking yours has got plenty of raw material to work on there. So click on the when column heading for us, Dale. And now we've got the 26th of November, the furthest into the future at the top.
Yeah.
So click on that again, Dale, and it reverses it. So click on the when column and just collapse all groups, Dale, so we're not seeing all the clutter.
When mine reverses it, it obviously is putting none above those, and that's because they need a due date. Would that be right?
That's right. These and that's why I reckon they should be at the top. These ones need you to make decisions on them. What's my next action in my when?
Got you.
When you do that, it drops down into the appropriate date further down.
Yeah.
And I would think that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. So I just really need to go through and due date things and get rid of stuff. Bottom line.
Yeah, make decisions. Look at it once, make a decision.
Yeah.
Delete, deal, delegate, or I've got to come back to this. What's my next action? When am I going to do it?
Yeah, great. Okay,
And
thank you, Stuart.
You have to do that. We all have to do that for every email we look at. So just look at it once and make the darn decision the first time.
Yeah.
Instead of rushing to the next one and then having to come back to the first one later. Anyway, it saves a lot of time and headspace. Just slowly, methodically work through from top to bottom. You've got 95 now, Joe?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So as I said with Kelly, there's allow about 30 seconds per email. So there's 47 minutes worth of activity there. Just go through and forward it. You'll find it's probably quicker than this. And in 47 minutes, you'll have a nice, neat inbox with nothing in the none section. And the first of the groupings being whatever today's date is. And then the rest will be dates into the future. Word of warning. Don't overcommit too much to tomorrow and the next day. It's tempting to cram everything in tomorrow and the next day. Learn, and you'll learn this with repetition. You'll learn this with experience. Space things out. You'll also start to systematize follow-up. You have follow-ups all over the week. No, make Thursday your follow-up day. I do all of my follow-ups in a batch on a Thursday, unless there's an exception. So you start to streamline your decision-making and when you do certain things.
Okay.
Is that? So you'll pick that up with experience, and I'll refer you to it again in a one-on-one.
Yeah. Okay.
Just while we've got you, Dale, just expand all groups. In fact, just go to expand collapse button in the middle of your ribbon. We're going to do the opposite of collapse all groups. We're going to expand them all. So it looks messy. Now click on the next action column heading, and yours doesn't have but when you click on the next action column heading, the black triangle is on that column heading, and now all your next actions are in alphabetical order. So it'll group all your follow-ups together within each date.
Yeah.
It'll group all your reviews together. So that can be really quite useful. If you click on the from column, Dale, your black triangle's there, and now it's doing it in alphabetical order of who it's from or the subject. So that black triangle tells you which one it's sorting on. And that can be really useful. Once you start having, 6 to 8 to 10 within each grouping, you can now sort your stuff. And just click on it again, Dale. And now instead of being A at the top, it's T at the top. It's reverse alphabetical. So some of these tools can be quite helpful for moving around your stuff. All good?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Stuart.
The other thing I want to show you, Dale, just click on one of those from the 5th and drag it to the 6th. Just click and drag to reallocate a date. Click and drag down. And as easy as that, it's allocated to another date. So Dale's going to have a fair bit of this to do because he's a little bit behind. But click and drag, when you don't get things done, drag and drop's a little easier than messing around in the when column, trying to retype or use the drop down. Thanks for sharing, Dale. Appreciate that. That's great. Thanks for your questions, Joe. Any more questions? Thoughts, observations? Who reckons you've got enough to go on with now for a few days?
Definitely.
Practice that. Yeah. Joe, you'll have it done by the end of the day. Just allocate a 30-minute block sometime today. It'll be done. Yeah. And as I asked Katie, send me a screenshot and play a game. Actually block the time and put it and use a stopwatch and see how long it takes you. You'll be surprised when you get focused and you have a deliberate block of time. It's amazing how quickly you can get through stuff.
Thank you.
You've got a time and a process, and it cuts through volume like a hot knife through butter. So promise me you'll send me a screenshot by the end of the day.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Because then I can coach back to that.
Yeah.
And show you some refinement. I can't show you everything in one session. You'll just be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But the bulk of it can be done now with what you've got, and then I'll help you fine tune and troubleshoot issues you come across answer personalised questions like Kylie's, how do I have a categories view, because that would be useful to me. All good. I'm happy that you've got as much as you need. So we might wrap up for those that want to go. Anyone wants to stay on, share the screen, do some coaching, happy to do that. I'm here for the next 20 minutes or so. So just quickly, how do you feel about today's session? Have you got what you needed so far?
I think so. Yeah, definitely enough to go on with. Thank you, Stuart.
Yes, you're at the start of the process, Joe. And
Yeah.
as I said, change is hard at first, messy in the middle, gorgeous at the end. Let me just quickly go through my slideshow to see if there's anything else I needed to show you. So I need to show you the cheat sheet. Those that have got access to, you'll all have access to the resources page, will have this cheat sheet. Is that showing? Let's just review the process. Step 1, go to your inbox and look at unread email only, new stuff you haven't looked at. Make a 4D decision. If you need to come back to it, give it a priority if you can, but certainly a next action and a due date. This is sifting, sorting, prioritizing, what I call triage. You do it with an active mindset, shallow thinking, quick decision making. You should only need a few seconds per email. Pause if you can deal with it in 2 minutes or less and knock it off straight away. Get it off your plate. Most of the time, this is 10 to 20 seconds, but you can extend it as far in 2 minutes as you like. Once you've done that, you'll have no emails in the none section. Then you go to today's emails and you have a deeper look at them. And now that you do the work and then you can file it, or maybe you need to add this email to something that's already in the calendar, or as we did with Dale, you need to create a new calendar item because this email is actually a task. I need to allocate time in the calendar. Once you've done it and got it in the calendar, delete it or file it out of the inbox. It's finished with. Even if you have to reply to that email, you can do it from within the calendar. You don't need to come back to the inbox. All good? So this is managing the workload that's turned up in your inbox. Still an active mindset, but now it's deeper thinking and it takes longer. And then for all the stuff that if you come across emails, no, I never have to take action. I never have to reply. Right click and add to junk and block them from getting to your inbox. And they go to the junk folder and that becomes your reading folder where you keep up with all the stuff that comes in that never needs an action, never needs a reply. You do a quick scan of those once a day or every time you visit the inbox if you want to. Read any that are of interest, which is a very small percentage, and no need to delete them. That file cleans itself up. It deletes those emails once they get to 30 days old. So this allows you to keep up with all your reading. And now you've shifted from active mindset to passive mindset. Now you can relax. You've got your arms folded. And again, it's shallow thinking, fast decision making as you quickly scan your junk folder. So we've got 3 different activities: sifting, sorting, prioritizing, or what I call triage. You've got treatment or managing your workload, and then you've got the reading. 3 different mindsets are needed. And when you try and do all 3 at once, it's very tough to slip from shallow to deep, from fast to slow, from complex to simple. Better to have 3 different allocated places. Does that make sense? So you can download that cheat sheet and print it off, and it might help you get that rhythm, that routine going. For those that are interested, and this is what we would use, say, Kylie and Joe, when working with your bosses, we would use a system of flags because they've probably got thousands in their inbox. Would that be correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So it's messy. So we need to tease out of that inbox into another dedicated place what they need. And we just use flags for that. I'll let you get on top of triage for yourself first because you need to fit your own mask before helping others. So get this going really well. And then when you're ready, I'll come along and help you do this with your in your boss's inbox firstly without them knowing, and then getting them coordinating the process. I'll just go to the end of this. So to wrap up, change is hard at first, messy in the middle while we get it sorted, while you get a routine, while you get a habit, but it's gorgeous at the end. So we've done the masterclass. So for the next 7 days, practice that. Grab me if you get stuck, send me an email screenshot or grab me for a one-on-one. We'll come back same time next week and review how we're going. I'm looking forward to seeing Dale's all sorted and up to date. I'm looking forward to Kelly having yours all a nice, neat, dated to-do list. And give yourself a bit of slack. If this was easy, you would have already done it by now. Give yourself a bit of slack. Give yourself permission to take some time to learn, to make some mistakes, to trip up, and call on me to help you get it right again. There'll be monthly doctor emails down the track, and for the next 30 plus days, you'll be able to grab me for one-on-ones. The default time is 15 minutes, but sometimes just looking at your screen, I can answer your question in 60 seconds or less. So sometimes you just need 1 minute. Sometimes you might need 30 minutes because we do a bit of sorting or sifting. So you'll have access to the web page. You'll be able to go back and watch the overview. You'll be able to watch this session. The triage tutorial setup's there if you need to go back to that again. There's how to use it in a dedicated video. There's the link for one-on-one. There's a 10-point checklist so you can measure your progress. Yep, I'm doing that. Tick that off. What date did you get it done? Just to help you at your own pace. There's the link. It'll be in the follow-up email and on that web page. And we'll come back next week, not 21st of May. It'll be 29th of July. So any final questions? Is everybody clear on what the next steps are going to be for you?
Yep.
Okay. So jump on the microphone or in the chat. What's been the most valuable takeaway for today? If a friend was to ask you, what have you been doing the last couple of hours? What would you say was the most useful thing? We'll go around the room. Start with A for Anthea.
Learning to manage the new inbox, the new Outlook.
Yep.
Yep.
The snooze, I think the snooze
Yes.
sounds like it was the big breakthrough for you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, gets it out of sight.
Yeah,
and
the categories I already had, which, yeah, just made it even better now.
Yeah, terrific.
Thank
You
you.
might even set up quick steps to speed some of that up now.
Yep.
Good. That means D for Dale. What about you?
Look, just set up my screen again. It was a bit out of kilter, and just those drag and drop, just those ones that I don't get done down again. So I just need to get on top of them. And this is the calendar one, just to put it where I want it in the time, allocated time.
Yeah, and that's the next step. Is you'll find that there's a whole lot of emails you're not getting to. All of us will. It's because they need a big block of time. So let's get them out of the inbox into the calendar and look at one thing at a time. In an inbox, you're looking at multiple things at a time. Very hard to concentrate on one for any length of time. So let's get it into a calendar where you're looking at one thing at a time. Thanks, Dale. K's before J's. No, J's before K. Joe, what about you?
I think it's just understand the different views that that are accessible now, and obviously just the collapsing, looking at it from a category view or versus the triage view, just having those different access to those different views. That's going to help me. I really need to play around with it a bit. I'm probably at the start of the journey here, so I think the whole lot of today has been very valuable because obviously it's all very informative. So I just need to get on with it and give myself some time to crack on.
Yeah, and the more consistent you are, the quicker you'll pick it up. It'll start to become a habit, and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how quickly you'll be on top of it, and then it's just fine tuning from there on. For those of you who, and Joe's one of those, wanting to work with your exec, get it right yourself, get comfortable, improve your competence and your confidence in using it.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you how you can do it on your boss's inbox without them seeing it, because they have a different view to you. And then again, when your confidence there, hey boss, here's your view. Here's my view of your inbox. Which one would you prefer? And it becomes very easy for them to get engaged and buy into the process when they see the black and white before and after. So don't go blabbing it to anybody just yet. Get on top of it first, and then come from a position of strength. Kelly, how are you going for today?
Yeah, I guess today's session reinforced that what I have been doing over the last week on the right track, and I'm building the confidence there, and also, like Joe, I would like to be able to let it was the views, so the triage and the category view, which I'd like to dive in a little bit deeper down the track with that as well, because I would like to show my manager how seamless it can be. So, and basically free up his time and mental space as well.
Yes. And they're the sort of things we cover in next week's session. We go, okay, now that you've got the basics right, that category question came up in advance. Normally I would leave it to next week, but I don't like to leave questions unanswered.
Yeah,
so we talk about refinements like that. Yes.
Yeah, just on that. So I'm actually, this is recorded, isn't it? Because I actually won't be here next week. So
okay.
Okay.
The recordings will be on that webpage I showed you.
Amazing. Yeah.
So next week's session will be recorded, so you can come back and
Yeah.
pause, rewind, look at it again. It didn't make sense the first time. Oh, now it makes sense. Now that I've had a week's practice, I understand exactly what that's all about. Good. And Kylie.
Yeah, like Joe and Kelly, really valuable, just refining the views, I suppose, for the triage, and also the categories will be very helpful as well with that view. So it's great. Thank you. Really
We'll
good.
look forward to seeing you all next week, seeing the progress that you made, consolidating that and making it a habit so that you've now got time, energy and headspace to learn some more new stuff. Carry on. Just quickly, Kathy will be on my case if I don't mention this. Kathy and I are going to continue talking afterwards, where I had a client cancel Revolutionise Your Inbox in the first week of August. I was running 3-hour sessions 5 days in a row. They were doing a really deep dive into the rest of the Revolutionise Your Inbox. So now I'm freed up. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a Revolutionise Your Inbox that week, but a 45-minute version, fast track. I asked our group on Dr. Email, do you want a 90-minute or 45? They just want 45 minutes. So we'll run it Monday through Friday. You've already done triage, so we go on to calendar management, file and folder management, attention management, and strategy. A quick fast track to get across all of that, and we'll do a deeper dive later in the year, but it'll allow you to get across all of the rest of the Revolutionise Your Inbox if you're interested. First week of August. We'll have details sorted by next week's session, but I'll just put that on your radar if you want to continue the journey without it getting too complex and too deep. It'll run every day of the week. They'll all be recorded, so maybe you can make 3 days, but not 5. So it's got plenty of flexibility for those that are wondering what's the next step. All good? Excellent. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for trusting me. Thanks for sharing your screen. Reach out if you get stuck. Otherwise, see you this time next week.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.